So in Furious 7, a guy named Deckard Shaw is coming to get revenge for his brother Owen Shaw, and the first person he goes after is Agent Hobbs, because Agent Hobbs was the one who decided to hire Dominic Toretto and his crew in order to get Shaw under.
The building is 48 feet tall, with the car 5 feet away. And we're trying to find theta, which is the angle at which they fall out. To do this, we are using SOHCAHTOA, and we're using tan, which equals opposite over adjacent. So tan raised to the power of -1 theta equals opposite over adjacent. Tan to the power of -1 theta equals 5 over 48. Once we plug this into the calculator, we get theta equals 6 degrees.
After getting Hobbs and Elena, Owen also goes to the Toretto house and manages to scare and try and harm the Toretto family by setting off a bomb. After this happens, Dom and Hobbs meet where Hobbs is staying at the hospital, and Hobbs tells him what's going on and what he needs to do to stop Shaw.
When you find that sumbitch, just do me one favor.
What's that?
Don't miss.
Dom gets new allies, and he finds out that in order to get Shaw, he needs to get a hacker named Ramsey, who's under custody right now by some bad guys. And so they have to do this by getting into the secure place where Ramsey is being held hostage.
With the unit circle and the equation v equals vector cosine theta I plus vector sine theta j, we were able to find 545 degrees east on the unit circle, which equals 315 degrees. The x and y values are square root 2 over 2 and negative square root 2 over 2. The magnitude is 130 miles per hour. When you plug in the values, you get v equals 130 cosine 315I plus 130 cosine 315j. This equals v equals 130 times square root 2 over 2I plus 130 times negative square root 2 over 2j. Once you find the answer, it would equal v equals 65 square root 2I minus 65 square root 2j.
Let's do this.
After they get in, Brian has to jump onto the bus, and he's able to get Ramsey out, but he is locked inside. So the height of the canyon is 14,110 feet, and the bus is 20 feet off the cliff. And we're looking for the hypotenuse, which is the distance between the base of the cliff and the front of the bus. And to figure this out, we will be using Pythagorean's theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So after plugging in the numbers, c squared should equal 14,110 squared plus 20 squared, which equals 199,092,100 plus 400, which equals 199,092,500. After you figure this out, we're going to want to find the square root of both sides, and after that is figured out, C should equal 14,110.01. Ramsey tells them that they need a microchip that she had in her possession, but she gave it to her friend. And they go to the friend, and they find out that the friend sold it to a prince who used it for his Lycan Hypersport. And so they have to go and go into a party that the prince is holding and take the chip and the car. Just as everything is going badly, Shaw makes it even worse by showing up to the party. So Dom and Brian have no time. They have to ride the car, and it's too late when they find out the car has no brakes, so they actually have to drive through 3 buildings. To figure out how much energy the light can use, we have to use the equation for work, which is W equals vector F times vector AB cosine theta. F stands for force, which in this equation is 242. AB stands for distance, which equals 500. And lastly, theta stands for the degree, which in this case is 0. After plugging in all the numbers, you should get W equals 242 times 500 cosine theta. And after plugging it into your calculator, the energy used should be 121,000. They are able to successfully retrieve the chip and use the chip for what Ramsey needs it in order to get Shaw. And they take everything back to LA, where they know the terrain the best, and Shaw gets them there, and they fight, and Shaw loses, and they live happily ever after. Yay.